All right, so we can go ahead and begin by just kind of addressing some of the concerns that people have about becoming a millionaire. And one of them is, how do you do it when you have little to no money? So the good news is that it's not that you need a lot of money to get started, because you really don't. In my opinion, it doesn't have anything to do with the amount of money that you have. It's about the mindset that you have to begin with, so that you're on the right course to getting to where you need to go. Because that was one of the mistakes that I made early on, was thinking that it was going to be the money that I needed to have in order to do what I wanted to do. And that's simply not the case, because what you need is you need the right mindset. And the right mindset will take you a lot further than money will, like just having money to start with. So, interestingly enough, I was raised to believe that I was raised to believe that same thing. But you know something? I heard a long time ago about these people who were winning the lottery and whatnot, and I think like mega bucks and stuff like that. And then come to find out, like, they actually didn't even get to keep the money long enough to know what to do with it. They just spent it right off the bat, and that's not a good idea, because I feel like they didn't know what to do with the money when they had it. So that's kind of like the mistake that I don't want you to make, and that if you are just handed a whole bunch of cash, that you know what to do with it, and that you know how to, invest it, so that you're not making any kind of mistake. So this, again, is about, if you're just now joining us, this podcast episode is about how do you become a digital millionaire. So I always talk about on my blog about how the digital world is what I prefer versus kind of the physical world. Again, when I was growing up, I had a lot of people kind of teaching me what to do and what to not do, but not necessarily as formal as I made it sound. I grew up asking a lot of questions and thinking to myself, like, what's working for people and what isn't working for people, so that I can avoid making the same mistake. And then I realized pretty quickly that there was a lot of things that people had in common. One of them was their different approaches to starting businesses, because that's usually the first leap that people make when they're going out and they want to start a new business. That's usually what they say, is like, I want to start a business. And so they do it, but it's not as simple as that. You really have to think about all the things that the business is going to be doing, and like, there's just a lot to think about. And I remember back in the day when I was feeling the same way, I wanted to go ahead and start a brick and mortar business. I went in and I talked to it was a community college. I think they offered this program, and the program basically, what do they do? So the program, they offer for people that don't always go to school there, not necessarily, but they have these business plan meetup kind of things. I don't know, I guess the community college offers a place for you to go in and ask any kind of business questions that you want. I think it's governmentally sponsored, so like you can go in and ask any questions. But long story short, they had me fill out a business plan before I walked in there. Like I had to have a business plan, and a set of questions before they would ever give me any attention. And I did that, and I can't tell you what the business plan was, because I don't even know if I used it or not. I always just had ambitious ideas and stuff like that, but they never really, came to surface, I guess you could say. But yeah, so I guess how that panned out was they wanted me to have a very strict idea of what it is that I was going to do to make money and how I was going to go about it. So I didn't really like the whole business plan idea. So instead of me rambling, I'll just tell you that, long story short, I did not choose the brick and mortar way of doing things. I decided to go digitally. And I remember a long time ago, my father told me something very important. He said, Carl, it will take a lot of money for you to start these online, or excuse me, it will take a lot of money for you to do these brick and mortar type things like franchisees, and you're going to be paying big fees. He says, why don't you just start building a website? If you build a website, then your chances of failing and losing a lot of money are slim. What does it cost to build a website? Not much, depending on the website, like $10 a year for the domain and like hosting and stuff like that. So eventually I just thought about that and I was like, okay, so I'll learn how to build a website. And then I made my way to the library and I just started studying, learning about how to build websites and how people who don't know that much about building websites, how they can learn as well. And so I kept going, trying to figure out how it is that I'm going to do this. It was very overwhelming. I didn't know how to build a website. But I kept watching videos of people who kind of talked in the same tone that I did, that I'm doing right now. Like, it was pretty much reciprocal. Like, they were saying the same things that I'm saying now. Like, they were emphasizing that they didn't have any prior knowledge, and that they just kept learning, reading books, and then finally it clicked and they were able to do it. And I can proudly say that now I am at that point. I do make money online, and it took me about 10 years to finally land on something, but it ended up being the paid membership. That's what worked for me, was the paid membership. Selling content on my website and making it look like really professional and stuff like that. But along the way, it wasn't like that. And along the way, it was very, very difficult because I was trying a whole bunch of different things. I tried many different things that I thought were going to work for me, like trying to promote my music and trying to do all this other stuff at the same time, and I wasn't staying focused. And the secret honestly is staying focused. You can't just do a whole lot of different things and expect some kind of result. It's very hard, but I can argue that you need to do all those things in order to have some income coming in. In the beginning, you have to sustain yourself. If you don't want to work for someone, like, you really have to have you have to have lots of different cash flows coming in, so that you just keep working on it and keep working on it and keep working on that until you just keep working on that and working on that and working on it until something starts working and making money for you. For example, I was doing a lot of different things. Like, I didn't realize it, but there were some ride-sharing programs that I was utilizing that were really just like confidence boosters, where I just started being my own boss, making money and stuff like that. But it took me a long time to get to that point. And so I will say that, yes, you need to do a lot of different things to handle your monthly expenses as you're getting into your niche or focus or whatever the big cash cow is that's going to make you money. For me, I never really know what it is because I always learn new things, so things always change. But what I can tell you is you need to start making money. Like, that's the big confidence booster that people will, that's the big confidence booster that will set you apart, and people will start looking at you differently because you'll be like, they'll ask you questions like, what are you going to do this weekend, or do you have to work? And you'll be like, work? What's that? Like, I'm making passive income, so I don't work anymore. So that's kind of one of the things I look forward to personally, is because I know how important it is to me to have the freedom to talk to my friends and family. So everything I ever did, everything I ever build is strictly passive. Like, I don't mess with anything else. Like, I'm here for income streams. That's it. That's all I'm trying to do is have passive income coming in. And so I'm really happy to be here today, and all the technology that surrounds me, that I get to help people in the many different facets of their life. I truly enjoy what I do every day, and this podcast alone has helped me reach a lot more people, and it really brings me joy to know that people are listening to my stuff. And I'll tell you what, guys, you never know where life is going to take you. It's very interesting because I know there's a lot of young people out there that are confused and that they don't know where their life is going and stuff like that. And I'll tell you, I've come a long way. I was in a lot of the shoes. I never came from a very, a rich background. My family, they made okay money. I think we spent a lot more than we could have saved, but I didn't come from a rich background by any means. I definitely had to work for everything I ever have right now. It was scary. I went into a lot of debt. Going to school put me in debt. So it was very scary, but I always like to deviate from the path because I noticed that everyone has a different journey in life, and we all need that motivation, and I like to be as applicable as possible to everyone. I don't like to focus just on one person, but I like to speak to the masses because I understand what makes people hungry for success and stuff like that, and I know that it's really important for people to believe in themselves, and that if I can get to the masses of people and have them start believing in themselves again and believing in each other, and maybe this world will be a little bit different. Maybe people won't be out after each other looking for some kind of conviction. Maybe they're looking for more or less some confidence boosters. It's just a law of reciprocity where everyone is helping each other out. And that's what it's really about. Is because I wouldn't be where I'm at if I didn't have people supporting me. But then again, I wouldn't be where I'm at if I didn't believe in myself too. So that's what it comes down to, is believing in each other. And it's just really important that we all help each other out. And I could go on for days about that, but I'm really happy with where I'm at right now. And again, I don't know what your situation is, but what I can tell you is that you got to change the way that you think. If you're where you're at right now and you don't like where you're at, whether it's you need something new, you need a new house, you need a new car, you need a new friendship, a new spouse, whatever the case may be, I'll tell you one thing, is I've landed in some pretty sticky situations in my life where they weren't necessarily violent, though some were. It was the fact that I had to change my mindset to get me out of that situation. I didn't always like where I was at. When I was in the Marine Corps, I didn't like where I was at. There were times when I was very scared. I didn't know what was going to happen. And it was out of my control, and I was somebody's pawn, and it was just a very scary time. But what I did is this, and I think it's going to help you out a lot with whatever you decide to do with your life or wherever you're going, no matter what road you take, is that you have to change your mindset. You got to play the game. You got to be like a chameleon. You got to adapt. And you have to be able to talk to people on their playing field. You got to be able to communicate and pretend. Sometimes you got to pretend, and it's not pretending if it helps you out. If it helps you get to a different level. Everything I ever did, any kind of pretending I did, has made me into a new person. So I was able to adapt and be a chameleon. And I know that might resonate with some of you, because some of you are good at that, probably really good at that. And so I wanted to share that little piece with you so that maybe it can give you some courage and some confidence to get where you need to go. So again, if you're just now joining us, this is about how to become a digital millionaire, not necessarily just regular old millionaire, because I believe that you need to have some kind of online strategy as well as offline. And one of the things that I learned over the decade was the difference between the two, and that digital millionaires are not necessarily like face-to-face millionaires, because I've noticed that as the times have gone by, I've been behind computers learning everything I could about coding and HTML and all the other various different things that make online websites great, different marketing strategies online. And one of the things that really, I guess you could say, made sense to me after a while is that face-to-face communication. We can't forget that, because there's a lot of people out there that are needing help right now. They need help, and that there is definitely a demand for the face-to-face interaction. That's why lately I've been considering doing something of a face-to-face meetup for people that just want to talk and congregate and talk about things that they're passionate about. And so I've been considering doing a meetup on meetup.com, and basically just having something where people pay $5 a person or $10 a person, and they meet up and they can just talk about whatever brings them happiness or anything like that. And I'm just so thrilled to be here today to be talking about this because, again, I've had my fair share of struggles, and that I don't want to give up. Like, I want to keep trying to help people, and life is really just a crazy journey in that you can make it work for you, and you can be happy, but you got to change your mindset and remember that people online, that's good. You can reach a lot of people. You can reach a lot of people online, but you also got to realize that right here and right now, there's people that need you face to face, and that if you can give people your utmost attention, it'll definitely mean a lot to that person. And so this is going to be the end of this podcast episode. And again, I just really want to thank you for being here today. And if I did make a difference to you or your life in any way possible, the best thing you could do for me is just share it with your friends. That's pretty much it. That's what I've come to the conclusion with, is that if people just share my content, that's really what matters the most to me, because you can you can pay, you can do all this other stuff. That'll all happen. See, I'm not too worried about that. I'm not too worried about making monthly income from different things. It's not on my agenda anymore. My agenda is to focus. My strategy is for people to start sharing my content a little bit more, and that's kind of the game plan right now. So again, you can do subscribing. You can pay for my stuff on my website. But what I really want for you to do is just share with people the knowledge that I've given you today. Bless you all, and I hope that you have an amazing day, get through the rest of this year, and let's start every day strong. All right. Thank you so much.